if there's one advice that I can give to you all, is learn about everything.
Our featured speaker today is the Chief of Staff at Chai and Velostics, an AI enthusiast, MIT Bootcamp Innovation Leadership graduate, and a highly motivated self starter. Selly is a recognized leader in Mexico's innovation landscape, honored by Santander W50 Mexico 2025 for her contributions to business transformation. Selly, it's a great pleasure to have you returning as our featured guest today. Thank you so much for sharing this leg of your journey with us.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Happy to be here again.
The honor's all ours. I know it's been quite some time since we connected with you. When we last spoke, you were working with Propolex. And so now I understand you're the chief of staff at Chai and Velostics. Can you talk about what led you to take this position? It does sound really interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a journey since the pandemic and all the sudden change that I've been doing. But yeah, I'm coming back to being kind of the back end or the backbone from the CEO. I think it's an experience that I really love and I still loving it. Yeah, I like to be behind the cameras, but it's like setting fires on, off and on. So I think it's kind of cool. When I moved to Propellex, well, from Propellex to here, it was for a challenge to challenge myself that I can do it again, that I can go back and set a strategies and make growth and also set up digital transformation. I realized that I like tech, and this company was basically focused on tech, and now it's focused on AI and building AI agents. So for me, it's like it's still a challenge like every day, and it has been a great journey, and it's really fun.
Thank you so much for taking us through that. It's really cool to sort of have been in a new position where you're like sort of enjoying it. You've got those new experiences and everything. That's really, really cool. Can you talk a little bit about what about this new role, or I guess what about both roles makes you excited and engaged with getting up and in your day to day sort of thing?
Well, I just want to kind of shortly explain what a chief of staff is, because some people do have like a lot of confusion. And a chief of staff is, I don't know, I just recall it. It might sound really old, but I just recall it like an episode of Friends when Chandler, like all of these friends were saying like, okay, what's Chandler's job? I don't know what Chandler's job is. So it's kind of the same thing. It's difficult to explain my job, but everyone knows like has the knowledge about the chief of staff, and the chief of staff is turns, I don't know, it's like always on the back helping the CEO get a growth, focus on the real outcomes, set fires down, and it's like accepts all the challenging projects, goes ahead with team like I don't know, I don't know how to say it in English. It's like rushing the people out, so for everything like goes straight, like, and the company aligns to it, to the vision, to the objectives, to what the CEO wants to outcome. So in my case, being a chief of staff here and having again the challenge with this company, and which is a consulting company, being challenged in tech, the first project that I have in tech, it was really good. It has been really good. Like right now, for example, the company shifted to creating AI agents, and no from the team were like, okay, how can we create AI agents? And then it's like okay, suddenly you're going to manage all the sales team, and for me it was like, okay, what is the sales team, who is the sales team, what am I going to do? And then it's like, okay, and I want you to learn about AI and create AI agents, because you need the sales team to have this understanding of AI agents, and also you need to manage AI agents, like sales AI agents, and I want you to be a sales AI manager. And for me it was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. But at the same time, this is so scary because I don't know anything. But it has been really great. We started this January. And I think I'm just like the others. Like people know what AI is, but don't profoundly understand it like really, really well. So it's a still a learning process and a learning path for me. But yeah, as a chief of staff, it's a very good reach. You can have like all the information that you need to do so. So it's kind of it has been kind of cool, and for both companies.
Yeah, I'm so delighted that you're enjoying it so much. The learning curve definitely makes sense. How does your role kind of intermingle in both companies? Can you explain that to us? Because that seems like a lot to handle to be chief of staff for both companies. What is kind of like your day to day?
Okay, so my data that well, Chai, for example, which it was first called Chai One, now it's called Chai. It's the AI agent building, custom building for businesses like B2B. We do B2B, and most of the companies that we manage is manufacturing, oil and gas, industrial, packaging and stuff. So it's kind of a consulting company, and we have a team. And this company is like it's more established. It has 16 over 16 years and it's more established. Okay. So the other one is more like a startup. My day to day is like at the same time I have to be in both. So I have my calendars split it out like in two companies, but I still have to work on both because I work for the CEO, manage all their leads and manage all the networking, all the projects. So I start like with the team of Velostics, with the marketing team, the sales team, the product, the customer product and stuff, and then we set up like what are we doing today, and after that I kind of manage myself between both calendars. The CEO is the owns both companies. Velostics is still tech, is a scheduling system for logistics. So it's more like for manufacturing companies, and it's really, so the niche is like really specific. But now we're introducing AI into that system also, so it's kind of a mix between the two. And yeah, so my day to day is like getting into the network, setting up the meetings that we need for with the CEOs, helping the CEO to get noticed, helping the CEO to go with the projects, follow up with the deals, working with the team, the operations team, and then working with the sales team on the other side, working with marketing. And now, for example, we are sharing like all the data to into Soho. So now we have like a new project that I need to help out the team to move everything over to Soho in both companies. So it's kind of a day to day, like to meet with different teams, which is IT, with operation, with HR, with sales team, marketing, so that we have everything together. So it's kind of difficult. It's like every day is different, if I may say. Every day is like different. Every day is working on solving like right now some things. I also work with them and with the investors, with finance. So it depends on what is our focus on the day to day. But yeah, mainly it's aligning growth, that the team is get aligned, have the same objective, and go straight forward.
So does it feel somewhat like you're working in kind of a fireman role where whenever there's an issue, you're sort of dealing with that and you're helping to sort of solve the whatever problem is the current problem? Or is it more sort of maintenance and operation side?
It's more set in like the first thing you mentioned, but also with the operations. So it's not like the CEO is coming back to me as like, okay, help me out. He's getting this. I'm getting stressed with this. So go and help me out. It's like I'm always operating. I always check like if the projects are getting into speed, if we are on time, if we have the same outcome, if there is something that I can help with, if there is something that if we can, if we are like fulfilling it, if we're accomplishing, if someone is like a stock or something and a bottle, if we have a bottleneck, I need to open that bottleneck and find a strategy to kind of solve it. Because the CEO cannot actually, one of the main of the things of the chief of staff now, which is now a growing position in all companies, is because the CEO has a lot of things to do when they start the company. Since the demand is growing and everything like internet, and now it's like we're getting like a lot of demand on any service or any product. The CEO is like getting really stuck on having so many things to do. So what they do is like they hire like a second person that can help out on this, or like the right hand. And this person, like as chief of staff, what he does is like, okay, these are not the focus for you, the CEO, to do. So give it to me. I'll do it. I'll help you out to move on, but focus on growth, focus on strategy, focus on get to your mission and to your vision for 3, 5, 10 years. Do exactly what you're looking for, but leave this to me. Go into the office, work with the team, get into speed, stay with them, complete the projects, but just trust me this, and then you go there. And after that, it's like, it's kind of a team side.
So the chief of staff enables the CEO to focus on priority number one, whilst the chief of staff handles all the other things that are demanding their time and attention.
Yes.
How do you think that role sort of changes with the size of a company? I imagine with a startup, it's like making sure everyone's got pens and laptops and none of the facilities fail and deals are sort of coming through. And then as a company gets bigger and bigger, it gets higher and higher level. Would you agree with that?
It does change a lot. Everybody knows that when it's a startup, you have to do everything, even if it's not your job. I do this. So actually, as Velostic is kind of a startup because it has like less year than Chai, but Chai, since it's changing his product, it's also starting up, So at the same time, it's like I'm doing everything. Like I mentioned, I was on sales and then on product and then on business development and then moved to marketing and then creating events and then doing webinars. So called it out on everything that I could do. And he was like, okay, I need a help here. So can you go with the finance and get me these numbers? Or can you go with marketing and get me this project? So I've been doing that right now. But when the company grows, which is just established company, the CEOs stop like moving, stop like doing the operation thing internally because they have a COO or a chief of staff, which is kind of a mixture. So the chief of staff, what he stopped doing things and stop executing things and starts to align things. When it's a startup, you can do everything, but when it's a company, you have that different teams, different business units, and different people who does that. And what you have to do is just to make sure they are on time to do the project or to make the results that the CEO is expecting. And you are in the middle, tell the CEO that everything is okay. So if something got a bottleneck or a product, the CEO is not going to get in and said like, why are you not doing your job? Is the chief of staff who is trying to solve that? Because the CEO has to work on mergers, has to work on buying, has to work on getting products, has to work on open business or make it like a growth strategy for the company. And the chief of staff actually is kind of a CEO. Actually, it's as many have say like a CEOs are also some chief of staff. So that's kind of the thing when it's a corporate.
No, I really appreciate you taking us through that because I think it kind of, talks about how you can organize a company too. And I appreciate you describing the difference kind of between the startup culture and then, having that role in such a big company too. So going back to one of the reasons, that you really wanted this position, can you talk about some of the AI solutions and the tools that you've had the opportunity to work on in either respect? I know, there's a lot of fear still, as well as excitement around how fast AI is continuing to evolve. And I was wondering if, within that, you could describe some of the barriers you've seen or come up against as you've been working on these projects.
Awesome. So the first thing, I'm not judging anyone on this, but I'm going to say like everyone says that putting AI to any product or just putting the word AI to any product, it means like, oh my God, this is amazing. And some people use that AI word and they don't even know how to do it. They don't even know what it's like behind to build this AI process or AI project. So yeah, it's kind of challenging. I don't even know how to build like from scratch an AI agent. Have the knowledge. But what I want to know is like when we started to shift to AI agents, all our teams, we have a lot of the development engineers, started to kind of learn how to build these AI agents and learn how to understand AI because for them it's like, okay, we're getting behind this. And it has been for all of us has been a really good challenge. We're started like, okay, nobody actually can feel like 100% certain that they know about AI, because in the morning you have a new agent, you have a new process, there is a new product. So it's like growing so fast that it's difficult to get to speed to AI. But the products that we have been working on that they have been really good is like, for example, I've been in the project of creating an AI sales agent. For me, actually, like it could actually help me out to do follow-ups, to get some leads, to answer, to get actually the sales agent can help me out to get personalized emails. It's not only like, hey, John, how do you been? So do you want to, this is the product that I sell. Do you want to meet me next time? So next week, so call me and here's my schedule. No, it's like a personalized agent that actually goes into your profile or goes into your, I don't know, any other way that it can find, like to a web page or something, and finds out everything that you have from or what you do, and search and like writes specifically an email. It's like, okay, I know that you have studied on MIT. I know that you're a speaker in Founders Voyage. So what do you think about meeting next time? Because I think the book that you wrote is really interesting. And so I read it, the page 56, which is really cool. So this kind of AI reach is really wonderful. And we have a lot of path to learn. So I've been working on that. I know I'm not saying I'm perfect on this, but I can do it. So I have learned myself to create something like that. So another thing is kind of my assistant. So an AI assistant for myself to read my emails. I have a lot of emails since I have two companies. I work for two companies. I have a lot of emails. So I have to check my personal email and the Chai emails, Velostics email. So it's kind of a changing from one window to the other. So the sales and the assistant agents, they're both working together to read my emails, send me my calendar, give me my free time so they can help me out book another meeting. Sometimes they can reply if I let them. And yeah, that helps me out to do like at least focus on the real thing and stop focusing on the routinary, that the ones that keeps you from doing the specific things that takes you the whole time or the whole day to do so. So yeah, that's kind of the examples that I've been working on. But right now, for example, Velostics and Chai, they have been working on voice AI for certain companies, for customer support, for calls, sales also, but in voice. So you can call. So it's a person, sounds like a person, but it's an AI. So it has been like a really good understanding on that. I still don't know how to do that, but the product is amazing.
That's awesome. I think it's really, really cool that you're taking the time to sort of learn about how to create them yourself. And frankly, I'd love to have an AI assistant as well. I think it would help me a lot with emails. That's something that I'm always a bit behind on, unfortunately. One thing I wanted to sort of dig into with you a little bit is, you did a boot camp with leadership as a key focus. You've, proving yourself as a leader many times over. How do you think your leadership style has changed from like early on in your career when you were just sort of starting out and leading others to now? And if you had to pick like one or two pieces of advice for someone really starting off in leadership, what would be the key things you'd recommend?
That's a good question because I wasn't even think that I was going to answer this. That is really good. So I went to a past event when we were awarded like as the 50 Mexican leadership women in the whole Mexico. So I met with these 49 women in Mexico City. We went to the event that they awarded us. They gave us like, there were a lot of women managing NGOs, managing cybersecurity, managing sales, managing finance. So when I was like, we want to have some drinks and networking stuff, so we were talking about and then introducing ourselves. So there was one girl who was actually kind looking for shifting her job, and she says like, okay, I'm looking maybe something of HR because this is the only thing that I do and I don't know anything else. So I think I already focus on this. When I introduced myself, I said like, okay, just let me tell you something. If you want to grow, just keep learning about everything. not only focus on something and not only HR, not only go like finance, because I study finance, I'm only going to do finance and I can only work for a fintech. It's not only that. And actually, that's the thing about Chief of Staff because it has a lot of projects. It needs to learn about everything, it needs to know about everything. So, what I told all these 49 girls, if there's one advice that I can give to you all, is learn about everything. Everything is going to happen to you one day, and you're going to be grateful that you'll at least have experience or have learned about it. And when you know that, you will have more opportunities to grow, whether it's inside or outside, like if it's independently or if it's for your own company. I remember when I had an interview last time and I asked this person, like, why do you choose me? And he says, like, I really like your resume because you know about everything. So you have experience in legal, you have experience in finance, you have experience now in AI, for example. So moving from another and manufacturing. So it's like, I really like that you have all this learning, and it has been, for me, was interested. Nobody has it. That's kind of the thing that I would definitely say. It's like, if you have the chance to learn everything, just do it.
Well, throughout our lifetime, we'll learn as much as we possibly can. I love that attitude, though. Like, you're so hungry to evolve and grow yourself and, the institutions that you work for. And I absolutely love that. Hi there. If you're enjoying this podcast, would you mind leaving us a review, a like, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform? Thanks so much. That really helps our reach. The Founders Voyage podcast is now proudly sponsored by VidOps. Kane at VidOps has been taking care of our editing since early 2024. He works efficiently, and I'm sure you'll agree that he does a great job. Thank you to VidOps for helping bring this podcast to life. If you want the same great support we're getting for your podcast, or you need help with video, photography, or animation, you can get 10% off at vidops.io using our referral code Voyage. That's vidops.io, referral code Voyage. Now back to the show. And congratulations on your recent recognition by Santander W50 Mexico. That was really exciting. So, as someone recognized for her contributions to business transformation, can you talk about your vision for the future of innovation in Mexico? What would you like to see happen?
Oh, well, that's kind of cool because I think from all the people that I've met and also the 49 girls that I've met, I see that it's a lot of talent in Mexico. It's a lot of talent. The tech is growing. Actually, I wasn't not only awarded with these 49 people and got to know these 49 people. I'm also in a community called Women in Tech. And I'm really amazed when I speak to these persons, to these people, to these women, because they're only women and they're always focused in tech. And one of them is like, I don't know, she sales on Facebook in Mexico. The other works at Google. And the other works in fintech. So, for example, Shark Tank Mexico, we have Shark Tank Mexico. We have one of them who was one of the judges in Shark Tank Mexico. She is in one of the communities. She is inside the community. So for me to listen to these people, read these messages, see that I can write to her, and it's like, hey, I wanted to get advice from this. So for me, it's like, oh my God, I'm part of this community. And I know that there are many, many women to do on this community. And so the tech is thriving. There are a lot of talent here. The only thing that I do believe, and we all agree on this, the women that I've talked to, is the funding, is people to give us specifically trust that the women can actually thrive, that we can run business, that we can manage your company, that we can get you to the growth, that we can get you strategy, that we can actually create startups. As a quick example, so there was a girl that once said, it's like, okay, for me, it is difficult to get funding to my company because they are always telling me that I need to get a partner, and this partner needs to be a man. If it's not a man, then they won't give me the funds. So it was like, why? These communities, what we're doing is we're working on that, like growing, and that's it, and saying like, okay, we also need this trust that we actually can do this job, that we are actually can make growth. It's not like a man's world only. Mexico is having a really, really growth on women in tech and on women in business. So it's being on this side, it has been an amazing journey.
I've heard before actually about that women struggle to get investment because of those exact reasons of they have to get a male partner and things like that. And I think it often shows a complete lack of understanding of like the reality of the situation. But in addition, is that the kind of person you'd want to be investing in a company? You know, they'd definitely be providing hindrances throughout, I imagine. Can you talk a little bit about obstacles or maybe a pivot you've had to make in your journey and how you got through that experience and what it sort of taught you?
Recently, I've done a lot of pivoting. Before, I was actually a corporate person, so it was 8 to 5 person, like going like straight to an office, 2 hours of traffic, and then coming back in another 2 hours. So it was some like a routinary to a really conservative company that is like, if you're not present, you're not like working actually. And they were like micromanaging and stuff. So I went there for 8 years. I was there for 8 years, and it was really awesome also because I grew actually. I grew to 3 positions when I was in that company. And it was a corporate and it was a manufacturing company. It was packaging. There was like this company was the least that they were looking for to transformate like the company. So there were like the less investment in, I don't know, in cybersecurity or AI even. I don't know. For them, it's like, oh my God, no, this is too disruptive for us, you know? When I moved out during the company and during the pandemic, I moved out to Propellex and to cybersecurity. So I understood that I could do it. That I understood that I had to start over and I had to learn. I had to do it myself. I had to get into to Coursera and how to get into any other online courses to learn how I can manage cybersecurity because I was like always in the meetings and I was always with the customers. For me, this pivoting was like I mentioned, and I'm still like, this is kind of a statement that is going to stay here. Learn about everything because that's kind of the project, that's kind of the opportunity that you have. Because from moving from a packaging company manufacturing, then moving to cybersecurity, what am I going to do? You know? So I did it. I had the opportunity. And then from cybersecurity to move into tech and only mobile development and customized development and schedule a system for logistics. Actually, my boss one day just kind of was amazed that I did know a lot about logistics because I was on packaging. And he said, "Oh, I didn't know you were in packaging." And I said, "Yeah." And he got like, "Oh my God, so Selene, yeah, Selene, she's from packaging, so he can help us to understand the logistics and the companies and stuff." So, like I mentioned, it's like when you have this pivot and then you have the opportunity to keep learning and growing, it's really amazing. And don't be afraid to do it. Honestly, to be honest, don't be afraid to do it. It has been a really great path. I had to start from scratch, definitely. And then to move from a corporate company to move to virtual, I'm still working virtual. I'm still working in an outside office. The company is from Houston, so I don't even know my colleague. This kind of pivoting, I'm still liking it and I still want to go through with it and I still want to learn about everything. I got an interview from a fintech company and then I got an interview from a pharmacy, a big pharmacy company here in Mexico. So it's like, that's cool that people are actually considering me in any industry.
Thank you for, reiterating your point about learn about everything. Cause, I said only what we can learn in our lifetime, but like the breadth of the topics that you're willing to take on is really wonderful because you're right. Everything kind of helps everything. And I went to school for photography a long, long time ago. And that still helps me. All of it is interwoven into your journey. So I totally take your point. I really appreciate it. So I want to pass to another community member who has a question for you. Giovanni, do you have audio?
Thanks, Selene, for your insights. It was very nice to hear about your role. I have a quick question for you. How do you manage balancing your work, family, and things that you are passionate about in your life? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So for everyone, it has been difficult. I know that everything since we changed to the pandemic, we started to make this. I started to, when I was in the pandemic, I read the Atomic Habit book, which is kind of became really famous during the pandemic because everyone was like all over the place. In the meantime, I've been learning a lot how to make these habits to myself, and I've been working with psychologists, therapists, and personal coaches all over, like talking to them or give me advices and with people. And I've been setting up like limits, so one of my therapists that says is like you have to set up limits. So you have to, even if people don't like that, you have to set up limits, and when you put that limits, you will feel better. So what I do is like, okay, being in a virtual is kind of difficult because sometimes you have like your room here. The funny thing is like when sometimes I have meetings, my family is here, like my whole family, my mother and stuff. So sometimes my mother comes and gives me the breakfast, and then people is like speaking to me and say, "Hey, is that your mother? Hey, that's so good." And for me, it's like, "Oh my God, this is so weird." But for me, it's like, okay, this is my time for the office. Just focus on this. Don't get distracted. Come here. If you want to go, like, go for a walk and put a 15 minutes, go there and just stop like doing this. Stop like trying, because it's really difficult. When you go to the office, you are at the office, and then you go back to the house, and then you are in the house. But when you're in both, it's like you have to set up a limit. So what I do, and actually that's what I do, my both, because I have two calendars. Also, it's like what I do is like if I have a 15-minute walk, I put that 15-minute walk on my calendar, and also because I want the team to know that I have this 15-minute walk. So it's like, don't call me, this is my 15-minute walk. So you have to understand it. And I put it publicly. I didn't say like I'm busy. I put 15-minute walk. And they do understand. They never set me up any meeting and specifically on that 15-minute walk. Sometimes when I put like focus on to-dos, nobody set me up any time on that. And I also have a public calendar. If I send you a meeting and I tell you, okay, go find my calendar, I have those. Even if you want to do like something, if you want to meet like at 9 a.m. with me, there is no chance you can meet with me at 9 a.m. because I have, whether it's my 15-minute walk or my coffee time or whatever it is. So it has been working really good. And actually, because I have two companies and I also have things to do in my house. So that's the thing. And the other thing that I do is when I finished my job on Fridays, I never get into Slack. I never get into my emails. And if I read an email from my boss, I just calm down and say, like, this is a fire. Does it need to be answered today? No. Okay, we'll see it Monday. Or if he's like really, really reaching out to me, okay, I'll let you know next Monday. So that limits or boundaries on that. Nobody gets angry about it. Understand. At first they're gonna say like, oh, she's so mean because she didn't give me the chance. But no, they actually understand that. So it has been working a little bit of that. Now I need to set the habits on writing a journal or on affirmations and meditations. Those are the things that are still missing with me, but I still have to do those.
There's always more, right?
It's good that you found a method that works for you, but I think it is so important, as you've said, to set your limits and really be able to stick to them. It's something that I think is underappreciated in entrepreneurship, especially. People often blow past their limits and suffer for it later. Now, we've talked a little bit about sort of your past and what you're doing right now. And I know you're sort of in the transition stage at the moment. So feel free to say you don't have a plan at this point. But if you do have a plan, what do you see as sort of the next 5 years for you?
I do have a plan, and no, I don't have a plan, because even if I have a plan, maybe the plan is it won't come out like you expect. So I don't want to get stressed on that. But yeah, I do have a plan. My plan is move out to another city with a beach side, which is really awesome. So from being to a city which is like metropolitan area, like kind of a working in New York, for example, or Chicago, since I was working at virtually, for me it was like, okay, I'm staying home, working at home, watching TV, sleeping, doing everything at home, and I'm paying rent. So I said, like, why don't I just come back to my family, with my family, and spend some time? And then I realized like what I really want to do. So I came back, I'm with my family now. And then I said, like, okay, this is what I really want to do. I want to move out to a place where I can really rest, that I can really breathe, that my anxiety has to stop because the city where I was living in is like a lot of stress. It was a great place, but you still like living as the same people. Like everything is like accelerated. So everything is moving fast. So I said like I need to stop. I need to lower down because it's also my health, mental and physical health that I really want to focus on. I also said I don't want to go back to an office. I still want to stay virtual, but I don't want to work for one person. And so my plan is like I'm starting my old self-employed consultants as a fractional chief of staff, helping others. I've seen like a lot of startups, they really can't afford a full-time chief of staff because they're really, really expensive. I want to offer them the time is like, okay, you cannot afford the chief of staff like a full-time chief of staff, but I can help you out with the strategies to create a strategy and the best strategies and the KPIs and the performance of your team to work and aligns to the next 3, 5, 10 years for a lesser time and be more focused on helping out on the more focused things. So you can go and do growth and keeps you and help you out to keeps all these tasks outside away from you. So I want to start that. And I also want to do it during my moving. I'm also starting like a project in real estate. I don't really want to talk about like everything because it's a thing like ongoing thing. It's gonna be like really exciting. It's a real estate, but specifically for elderly people. So I've been talking to a lot of people. I've been saying these things to my project, and they said like, yeah, it's a kind of an amazing thing. So it's my kind of the first time that I'm gonna be an entrepreneur or another pivot for me.
So exciting. I appreciate you sharing, all of your aspirations with us. I'm really excited to hear more about your real estate idea when you're ready to share. And I absolutely love and support your working by the beach dream. And going back a little bit, I really appreciate, your advice about setting limits. Obviously, I have some bias, but I definitely believe in putting exercise on your calendar and your self-care. Some people that's like their time with their children. That's so, so valuable. I really love that you are growing multiple sides of yourself simultaneously. So, very exciting. I want to go back a little bit to AI, if that's okay. The AI assistant you described does sound like really great, but I remember when we were talking before, you're kind of, talking about this being a logistics company, and the first idea was this AI logistics system, but it sounded like the market wasn't quite ready for it. Would you be willing to talk a little bit more about that and, maybe the possibility of how you see the market may be ready for that at some point?
It has been a challenge, actually, since I've been in the manufacturing business and I know about all this kind of retail companies and customers that I used to manage also inside the packaging company and the manufacturing. Yeah, it is really conservative, mostly packaging because there are like a lot of packaging business is kind of a niche. So it's like, I don't know, only 5 or 6 companies are like all over the world. So for them, it's like they're sharing the market. I can mention a few of them. You know, SmartFit, Westrock in US, and International Paper, and some of them. So those companies, since they have the market, for them it's like, okay, this project is working. We have this market. The only thing that they actually invest in, they invest in technology to make better packages. But logistics for them, it's just working well. Is the least department where they actually invest, in my experience. Let me tell you why. If you invest in tech suddenly in a company, in a facility, and you said, okay, I'm gonna put this supply chain change where the software is gonna be like automated and no one is gonna manage it, and you have to just program it. So if something happens, maybe the integration costs $10. And for you, it's like, oh yeah, it's very cheap. And instead of working 5 people, it's gonna work 1 people. If you miss just one miss, if you have a bad programming, the machine just stops like maybe 3 or 10 minutes. those 10 minutes cost millions of dollars of not producing. Getting the chance, like if I am a decision maker inside the logistics, if I have to make the decision to do this transformation to the whole facility, are you sure that if something happens and you don't understand the process or you don't understand the software, are you sure you are willing to accept this loss of millions of dollars if this doesn't work? Because the supply chain is so big, and it's not only like, yeah, this facility sends to this city. No, it sends to China, it sends to Europe, it sends to packages to Latin America. So if this doesn't go out, you won't get the dates, you won't get the deliveries, and your customer, which are huge customer in this case, like Coca-Cola or like Amazon. So if you miss those deliveries to those companies, you lost. You can even lose billions in contracts. So that's the kind of the risk on logistics. So what has been challenging for us is actually that. It's like an integration that is really easy, that can help you out to make a visibility, and also work with the AI, that you can stop like setting and scheduling pickups and deliveries, because AI is going to manage it. It's like, are you willing to do this change, not only to one facility, maybe to 20? Are you willing to do it? The people who actually is more difficult to change on those ideas is the logistics management. So it has been challenging, but it's really good I'm not selling the product. It's not my job, but I work there. So I've seen how it works, and it's actually really, really good for manufacturing. It's really good. So if someone gets it, it's really good. But yeah, logistics is one of the departments in manufacturing that is really not willing to change like suddenly. So it has been challenging, but it's really interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, the bang has to be worth the buck, not in reality, but in their heads, right? Like the value add has to be worth that incredible risk. And I can see where they're coming from, but it'll be interesting to see when the companies that do choose to engage on the logistics side, this sort of technology, how significant of a change it'll have for them. I'm sure it will be incredible. We are just about at the hour, and I think you may recall the question we like to ask at the end. So, what words of wisdom or piece of advice do you want to leave us with today?
My words of wisdom I already said, and I'm gonna like really, really put a statement there. Learn about everything.
Thank you so much, Selene, for coming on today. We really appreciate your thoughts and everything you've shared with us and taught us today. Thank you also to everyone who joined us for the conversation. We really appreciate you bringing your perspective and energy to the discussion. Nancy and I and the team behind Founders Voyage feel fortunate to be part of this community with you and for the opportunity to bring this cooperative learning experience to you each week. We would love to hear your nominations for future Saturday session guests, and have an amazing day ahead of you.
You've just finished another episode of Founders Voyage, the podcast for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. The team at Founders Voyage wants to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We hope you enjoyed your time with us, and if so, please share this with someone else who might enjoy this podcast. You can also support us by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and by donating to our Patreon. Outro music today is Something for Nothing by Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band.